And the insanity just doesn't stop. It's quite rampant here on the internet, TikTok, YouTube, whatever social media platform that you're into. It is quite interesting. And there's other news that we have. Welcome back to MAGA headquarters here. And this one struck me kind of really interesting. Let's hear what this person has to say.
I don't even think I could be myself anymore. And what do you think that does to me in my community? That we can't even go out and be free anymore? Mm-hmm. Because all of you people, the ones who voted for that man, you are so emboldened now, aren't you? So emboldened to do and say what you want. Make people feel any way that you think that they should feel. This is a sad time. This is a very sad time.
Wow. Amazing. Another example of bring back mental institutions quickly. We need them. I don't know where they've gone, but we are going to need some for the next couple of years here just to clean up the streets and whatever else is going on here. But anyway, let's take a look at another one here.
What the hell? You cannot be serious. How did I wake up to this garbage as my president? That's right, garbage. And then all of a sudden, it's just been hijacked by these freaks of nature that call themselves Trump supporters. It's all hate, 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 hate. Trump hates everybody that's not white.
I was doing everything. I was doing manifestations. It was in my dreams. I just don't understand. Is it too late?
Okay, so I was wrong. A lot of astrologers were wrong. A lot of us were wrong. But if you think that right now is the time to tell me that you don't believe in astrology, who gives a fuck about astrology right now, dude?
Stupid fucking whore! So I'll just shut the fuck up! Fucking asshole!
She is not a convicted felon, rapist, crazy, fascist, dictator, psycho.
By now, everyone's probably seen the Kamala Harris. She's definitely made an appearance here, a public appearance, with a video that she just came out with. And it appears that she has maybe been drinking. I cannot confirm this. I don't know. But let's take a look at this video and see what she has to say.
I just have to remind you, don't you ever let anybody take your power from you. You have the same power that you did before November 5th. And you have the same purpose that you did. And you have the same ability to engage and inspire. So don't ever let anybody or any circumstance take your power from you.
Wow, that's something else. She does sound drunk. I don't know for sure, but yeah, that is something else. We just missed that. We could have had that for 4 years. Everyone's all about that.
Come-a-la-la-la!
I was going to ask who you're going to vote for, but I didn't need to.
Come-a-la-la-la! 'Cause lives matter!
Unfortunately, the American people spoke, and we are not about that. We're about freedom, get these illegals out of here, all this other stuff that we need to clean up our streets. We need to have an honest political situation with our U.S. government, which is, it's going to be a hard work, but I think maybe we can do it. So there's a lot of stuff that's going to be happening here in the realm of politics and government. In the next 4 years, we'll see. But celebrities think differently. I know they're special. They're Trump-hating derangement syndrome going off the rails here. A lot of them want to move out of the United States. People like Bryan Cranston. But let's take a look at this, what they have to say.
To Spain.
But I need to come into your country if you'll let me in, or Canada.
Listen, if he wins, he won't have to worry about immigration. We'll all go back.
Where would you go? Canada.
I'm 100% moving to Canada. I love Canada.
I'd be an expatriate. I would definitely move.
Trump win, I'm moving to Africa.
If any Republican gets nominated, I'm going to move to Canada with my entire family.
Maybe it's time for me to move. I'm reserving my ticket to get out of here if he wins.
I have a house in Spain that is going to be ready right after the election.
Panama, Siberia,
Nova Scotia.
I'm definitely moving to Canada.
Straight to hell.
Iceland, France. Asia's pretty cool.
Like a mental hospital for a while.
I would move to the Caribbean.
The Bahamas, Hawaii.
I've always wanted to live in Italy.
So the thing with these celebrities wanting to move out of the United States is very difficult to get a citizenship anywhere else. And to let them let you in. Like Canada is very stringent. So if they're going to move to Canada, they'll be right back. They don't even want us there. Things like that. So for them to tout like immigration is the best thing, illegal immigrants coming into our, over the border and all that stuff, that's really bad for America. Now, as we've seen, it definitely is, because you got murders, you got all these other things that are going on with these, and you don't want that because it is horrible. It ruins the economy. Obviously, what we've seen here, it does ruin the economy because our government is giving money away to these illegals, and it's just not fair to the American public that pays into the system.
Illegal migrants in New York are now protesting after the city ended their free food stamp debit card program.
Asylum seekers and activists spilling onto the street in Midtown as they protested. The city will end its controversial debit card program for migrants. Under the pilot program, migrants staying in city-funded hotels receive these cards to buy their own food and other necessities.
Illegal migrants in New York are now protesting after the city decided to end their free food stamp debit card program. The program gave migrant families $350 a week for food and supplies. This situation in New York has garnered controversy from commenters online. Commenters claimed that the $350 a week that was given to migrant families should have gone to homeless veterans, and that federal funding should be ended for all cities housing migrants.
And they just go ahead and frivolously hand it out to somebody else that's not American. Think of how many homeless people we could be, rescuing and getting off the streets, and all getting them treatment and all this other stuff that goes along with it. I don't think people are thinking with a clear mind. They're thinking with their feelings and what their thoughts are on things that really don't really matter to them. However, one of the things that people are going to have to keep a mind of is that we are quite literally very close to nuclear Armageddon here around the world. Russia's got nukes pointed at us. They've got them pointed in other countries as well. So we have to keep in mind that whatever happens between now and Inauguration Day, that Putin's ready to push his button and release, hell on earth, for lack of a better description of what's going on. Everything's going to melt. People are going to just, it's it. That's the end of story. Will our human experience here be gone?
If this goes to World War III, it looks a lot like what it is now, just amplified. However, Putin has threatened nuclear missiles. So are you totally discounting that?
I don't totally discount the use of nuclear weapons. I will say that the probability of a nuclear weapon going off in the United States is extremely small. the probability of a nuclear weapon going off in a NATO country is extremely small. It doesn't make any sense for Putin to use a nuclear warhead in a country that guarantees war with the United States, that guarantees retaliation with the United States. That doesn't make sense. But it's not nearly so cut and dry, right? People think, again, thanks to the oversimplification of media, we think that Russia's going to launch some nuclear weapon that hits New York. That's not how wars are fought. Wars are fought with covert action and with plausible deniability. So what happens if a small yield nuclear weapon goes off in Kiev that was smuggled there in a briefcase through Belarus? That's a much more likely outcome. Who takes responsibility for that? Who does NATO hold accountable for that?
Yeah.
Right? The only facts, the only evidence you would have are a blast in Kiev, no missile, no source that you know of where it was deployed from, and maybe you can track it back to crossing the border from Belarus, but Belarus isn't at war with Ukraine. Belarus is a proxy for Russia, but you can't hold Putin responsible for what Belarus does. You have to hold Lukashenko responsible for what Belarus does. But who holds him responsible? It's not a NATO country. So does NATO go to war with Belarus? You see how messy that would get?
Mm-hmm.
That's how this kind of conflict actually happens. You want there to be so much confusion that people can't plan their response. One of the benefits that autocracies have over democracies, China, Russia being autocracies, Syria, Iran being autocracies, is they don't have to worry about bureaucratic gridlock. The United States on its own has bureaucratic gridlock all the time. NATO is a conglomerate of bureaucracies. It's a bureaucracy of bureaucracies. So imagine the gridlock that they have to deal with. Part of the reason the United States is the one funding Ukraine is because NATO can't make a decision. They can't make a decision over 6 months, let alone 6 hours, right? At least the president can pass an executive order and everybody moves forward. So autocracies are constantly playing against that democratic weakness of bureaucracy. So a pocket nuke goes off in Kiev, or a pocket nuke goes off in the Donbass region, and it's smuggled through Romania, or it's smuggled through Moldova, or it's smuggled through Belarus. Who's held responsible for that? What's the global response to that? NATO is gridlocked. The United States is putting pressure on NATO to come to a certain conclusion, but NATO doesn't want to come to that conclusion because then they look like they're being bullied by the United States. In the meantime, you still have a nuke that just went off in Ukraine. That is absolutely within the realm of plausibility. But what's the benefit? Unless it's a city like Kiev, unless it takes out the entire presidential core or the entire leadership core, it doesn't really benefit Russia. And that's what if Russia's going to use a nuke, if they're going to use a nuke overtly or covertly, they want to use it in a way that brings a very specific benefit to them.
We don't want that to happen. Obviously, nobody wants that to happen. But it seems like the Biden administration is just pushing and poking the bear, the Russian bear, and you don't want to do that. Nobody wants that to happen. We want to be friends and allies with people in other countries. However, we can't do it to everybody, but that's the story. What's going on today is, I never thought that living this long here on Earth that we would see something like this. And here we are in the face of adversity with nuclear Armageddon. Not that I say it's going to happen. We hope it doesn't. Trump is in there doing some negotiating with Putin and other leaders around the world. And hopefully they're listening to ceasefire, to stop this. It's just crazy madness is what it is. And some people are for it and some are not for it. I am not for it. Although this is just goes to show you how far the Democrats have gone. They have gone too far left. And hopefully you recognize that. And if you don't, I really feel bad for you because you've been propagandized to think with your feelings and not with logic and how things work with our Constitution and how our government is literally screwing everybody with taxes and all that stuff. You're part of it too. So you got to deal with it. You can't just go, oh, I hate this person because some mean tweets that he tweeted or whatever it is that you heard about Donald Trump or whoever. It doesn't matter. Kamala's probably got some skeletons in her closet, but you know what? None of the right is attacking her. None of the right is exposing her for things that she's done or whatever. Not like they're doing to Donald Trump. There's just, and they tried to off him twice and it didn't work, you know? So hopefully this opens your eyes. Like, our freedom is was so close to being gone, like literally just snuffed out of existence, that your freedom of speech and your second 2A amendments, um, the right to defend yourself, whether it be at home or whatever, yeah, those rights would be gone. And that's really what they want. They want total control, global control. And people do not recognize that. They think with their feelings and their softness, and they've gotten soft. You know, I'm guilty of it too. In the past, I've been a soft person, and I've voted Democrat, but now I voted Donald Trump because I know that this person is a stand-up person. Even though everyone's got a shady past, everyone's got skeletons in their closet. It doesn't matter to me. It's what are the policies? What is this person's policies that they're carrying? I didn't hear any policy from Kamala Harris's side or the Democrat side other than what they stole from Donald Trump. Why would you do that? That makes you look so incompetent on what your policies would be to the American people. And it's quite disgusting and gross to hear this with news clips and things you hear on social media or the news or whatever. And then you've got the mainstream media that is completely against freedom of speech and everything else. And it's gross. This is the new world order or the World Economic Forum. This is those people in there that are doing this. And George Soros and all these other things. They pretty much programmed you into thinking a certain way. Like change your sex, change the way you look, dress like a girl. This weakens a society. Hopefully you recognize this and you see it for what it is. It's a weakening of society. It's a weakening of you. And they're doing it blatantly right in front of you. And you're just eating it up like, yeah, you're so right. My feelings, oh, I should, dress like a woman because, I've got all these tender feelings and I must, there's so much more to it than that, but you get the idea. It's so disgusting that hopefully you guys see through this and stand for what is right in America, because our values of pretty much are out the window, and we need to re-educate people, not program, but re-educate people in a positive way to say, hey, this is our Constitution. This is what our land has been for a long time, and we must abide by these to protect one another. So for somebody on the left to attack somebody on the right is wrong. And I don't see a lot of people on the right attacking the left because we don't care what you dress like. We don't care what your lifestyle is. We just want you to be happy just like every other American. There's no need to push your ideologies on anybody else, whether it be a classroom setting or whatever. Just live your life, be happy the way you are. Go about your circle of your peer circle or whatever, you know what I mean, with people that you hang out with. And that's who it should be with, is those people. So if you're going to talk about hunting, you're going to hang around people that love to hunt, not people that don't like to hunt. Same thing with your lifestyle. It doesn't matter. Just keep it to yourself. I grew up in the 90s. So when people were like, the gay and queer movement was kind of moving forward with what they were doing or whatever, no one cared. No one made a big deal out of it. It's like, oh, okay, cool, you're gay or you're queer, it doesn't matter. No one cared. And now it's a big deal because everybody's into their feelings and how dare you, not recognize me. It's a form of narcissism that is very sick and twisted, because when someone changes their look or their hair or whatever, it's a form of look at me, notice me. I've been in the closet for so long, and I've lived at worst case scenario, your mom's basement for so long, and I'm just now entering society, and you need to accept me for who I am. And part of that is true, and part of it is just keep it to yourself. No one cares. Just be a decent human being. Be a cordial human being. Nobody has to address you by your pronouns. You don't have to make a big deal about your LGBT status. Nobody cares. Just go live your life and live that and be who you are, because we're going to respect that. We don't care. No one's going to make fun of you. No one, we're not about that. So hopefully that helps. If you're listening to this, definitely leave a comment. Let us know what your thoughts are, not your feelings, but your thoughts, because you can think for yourself. And that's the most important part, is thinking for yourself, making your own decisions on what's right for you, your family, or your friends. So there you go. Until next time, I'll see you in the next video. Cheerio.
Came obstacles that nobody thought possible, and it is now clear that we've achieved the most incredible political thing. Look what happened. Is this crazy? But it's a political victory that our country has never seen before, nothing like this. I want to thank the American people for the extraordinary honor of being elected your 47th president and your 45th president. And every citizen, I will fight for you, for your family, and your future. Every single day I will be fighting for you, and with every breath in my body, I will not rest until we have delivered the strong, safe, and prosperous America that our children deserve and that you deserve. This will truly be the golden age of America. That's what we have to have. This is a magnificent victory for the American people that will allow us to make America great again. Oh, what a great. And in addition to having won the battleground states of North Carolina, I love these places, Georgia, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin, we are now winning in Michigan, Arizona, Nevada, and Alaska, which would result in us carrying at least 315 electoral votes. But it's much easier doing what the networks did or whoever called it, because there was no other path. There was no other path to victory.